The house that remembers. Miles hadn't been back to his childhood home in 17 years. Not since the fire. Not since the night his sister disappeared. His mother had never spoken about it again, just packed what was left of their lives into boxes, locked the house behind them, and moved across the state. When she died 2 months ago, the house passed to him. He didn't want it. But when the lawyer slid the keys across the table, something inside him whispered, "Go back." The house sat rotting on the edge of Hollow Creek, a brittle skeleton of sun-bleached siding and broken windows. The woods behind it had grown thicker, darker, like they were reclaiming it. Miles stepped inside, the front door shrieking like a warning. Dust hung thick in the air, catching beams of sunlight like ash. The furniture was exactly where it had been the night of the fire. The living room, the stairs, the cracked ceramic angel on the mantel. But something was wrong. There was a door in the hallway that hadn't been there before. Not boarded, not disguised. New, with a black iron handle and no trim. Miles stood in front of it for a long time, staring, heart pounding. He reached for the knob, but it was cold, too cold, like metal kept in a freezer. He pulled his hand away and backed into the kitchen, trying to ground himself. He wasn't alone. A noise, a soft dragging sound, echoed from upstairs. Miles froze. The second floor had collapsed in the fire. There was no upstairs. Slowly, he stepped toward the staircase. His foot hit something soft, a stuffed rabbit, his sister's, burnt around the ears but intact. His breath caught in his throat. Behind him, the door creaked open, the one that was never there. From inside came the faintest voice, "You finally came back." Miles turned, heart thundering, and faced the door now slightly ajar. A black void yawned beyond it, colder than the air should allow. The smell hit him first, wet soil, old rot, and something sweet like decaying fruit. He swallowed hard, fighting the instinct to run. But a whisper curled out from the darkness again, soft, fragile, and familiar. "Miles!" He stepped through the doorway. The hallway inside was impossible, too long to fit within the structure of the house. The walls were lined with peeling floral wallpaper, and a single flickering bulb buzzed overhead. The air was thick with humidity, yet every step he took felt like walking through snow. At the far end of the corridor stood a door, another, painted red. The closer he got, the more the walls seemed to swell and breathe, like lungs exhaling mold. He hesitated at the red door. It was the same door from his childhood dreams, the one that appeared the week before his sister vanished. Back then, he'd wake up screaming, unable to remember what was on the other side. But now something behind it remembered him. He opened it. Inside was a bedroom, a perfect copy of his sister's room, untouched by fire, time, or grief. Her porcelain dolls stared from their shelves, wide-eyed and glassy. Her bed was made. Her tiny slippers were beside it, and sitting in the rocking chair was her, or something that looked like her. "Hi, Miles," she said, her voice hollow, stretched thin like old tape. Her eyes were wrong, black pits that shimmered, not with light, but with depth. Miles couldn't move, couldn't breathe. "You left me here, but don't worry. It forgave me. It just wants you now." Behind him, the door slammed shut. Miles spun toward the slammed door, rattling the handle, but it refused to move. The room behind him pulsed, alive with breath he couldn't see. He turned back to the thing in the chair, his sister, or the shell of her. She hadn't moved, but her smile had widened. "You always ran," she said, her voice a little deeper now, crawling out of her throat like something separate from her body. "I didn't leave you," Miles stammered, stepping back. "I tried to get you out. The fire dash." "You didn't even look," she snapped. Her eyes flickered. "You ran. You saved yourself." And the house, it remembers. The dolls on the shelves tilted their heads toward him. First one, then three, then all at once. Their glass eyes began to fill with crimson tears. The walls peeled back to reveal something pulsing behind them. Meat, veins, memory. The room groaned. A low guttural sound. The bed split open like an eye, revealing teeth buried beneath the sheets. "You've been forgetting, haven't you?" she whispered, rising from the chair. "Forgetting what you saw, what you did. The house keeps those pieces, Miles. You can't bury them." He pressed himself against the wall. "You're not her." Her smile twisted. "I was." Then the walls shifted, and he was back in the hallway. But it wasn't empty anymore. Framed photos lined the corridor, all showing moments from his life. But in every photo, something stood behind him. A shape, growing clearer with each image. Tall, twisted, faceless. It had always been there. Miles stumbled down the hallway, the photos flickering as he passed them. Each one growing clearer, sharper. In one, he was 8, smiling with his birthday cake. In another, 17, arms wrapped around a girl he couldn't remember the name of. But behind him in every image was the same looming figure. No face, no eyes, just presence. And in the final frame, the most recent one, it stood directly behind him, hands outstretched. He reached the end of the corridor and slammed into a wall that hadn't been there seconds ago. Trapped. The lights buzzed and dimmed. The wallpaper melted, revealing rotted wood beneath. The floor rippled beneath his feet like skin, and somewhere distant, the sound of a heartbeat throbbed in time with the walls. "You're in it now," the voice said again. But it was no longer his sister. It was older, layered, many voices at once. "You brought the memory back. That's what it feeds on. That's how it lives." "I didn't forget," Miles muttered. "I tried to forget. I had to." The wall cracked open, revealing the living room from the night of the fire. But it wasn't in flames. It was frozen in that exact moment. The overturned lamp, the spilled whiskey. His sister at the top of the stairs screaming his name while smoke poured from under the floorboards. And him, frozen at the threshold, not running to her, just standing. He stepped into the room and saw himself, his younger self, turn, eyes wide, before bolting out the door. "You chose," the voice hissed. "Now it chooses." The house collapsed inward, swallowing the memory whole. When Miles opened his eyes again, he was standing in the front yard. The house was gone, leveled, nothing but ash. The keys were still in his hand. A new door stood in the earth, waiting,